Hey guys, it is Ryan. I'm not sure if you know this about me, but I'm a bit of a fun fanatic when I can. I like to work, but I like fun too. It's a thing. And now the truth is out there. I can tell you about my favorite place to have fun. Chumba Casino. They have hundreds of social casino style games to choose from with new games released each week. You can play for free anytime, anywhere. And each day brings a new chance to collect daily bonuses. So join me in the fun. Sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Hey, what's going on? This is Tyler from Black Diamond Softball and Fitness, and you're listening to the Foul Pole to Foul Pole Daily Show. Hey, welcome in. Man, I'm telling you right now, I cannot thank you guys enough for sharing this information, sharing this podcast, and putting this stuff out there for me. We just keep spreading the word, and I thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for all the support you guys have given me. With that being said, we are going to continue to move. We're going to continue to pump out content, and we're just going to continue putting this stuff out there for you guys to listen and share. So thank you guys so much. On today's episode, I do want to get into the word culture, and not necessarily on the micro level as far as culture within a team or, culture within an organization. I want to talk about the entire softball community and the culture that is within our sport. For the most part, I have to say we have a great culture as far as continuing to grow, continuing to build, and heading in the right direction to give these young athletes somewhere for them to go in the future. If you rewind about 20 years ago, I think it was more of an exclusive group than an inclusive group. I think it was more of the haves and the have-nots probably 2 decades ago. We still have that haves and the have-nots today in the sport, and it doesn't matter what sport you're in. Softball is just like any other sport. You're going to have the little pockets where the more money that is spent or the more money that is available in areas, the game is going to grow a little bit faster because, like everything in life, it all revolves around money. But at the end of the day, you can continue to throw money at something. If there's not a sustainable culture that's there, you'll see that fade away too. It may not fade away as fast because you can continue throwing money at it, but eventually that well will run dry. So what you have to rely on and what you have to revert back to is the culture that is within the sport. And then, of course, from there, it trickles down to the individual player. And I want to talk about that player, that softball, that little girl, that maybe that 6-year-old, maybe that 10-year-old, maybe even that 15 or 16-year-old. There is a certain swag about it, like a swagger, if you will, that for anybody that's involved in the sport of softball, it's like who you are. Whether you're a coach, a parent, an instructor, a player, it doesn't matter. We have this little thing about us. Like we are just involved in softball. And it doesn't matter if it's, in your local rec area or your local community with the rec program and you play a spring season or a fall season, or if you've been sort of wrapped up in the travel ball. And you play 9 months out of the year, 10 months out of the year, if it just doesn't stop for you, and you kind of roll a couple of different sports together with different times of the year. But we have this thing about us where we're softball players, we're softball coaches, we're softball fans. We just have this, there's something about us, and I can't put my finger on it. And I guess other sports have it too, and I'm sure they do, whether it's I'm a football mom, I'm a baseball dad, I'm a wrestling mom. I remember back in the day, my close group of friends, we were all wrestlers. We wrestled from middle school up through high school. A lot of my buddies were lucky enough to chase that dream into college, and some of us went different routes and stuff like that. I had some other buddies go to college for different sports, and a few of us went into the military and stuff like that. But man, my mom, I'm telling you right now, back in the day, she was a wrestling mom. That's all she talked about. I mean, it would be something as little as, have you eaten today? What have you eaten? Have you stepped on the scale? Do you have your practice clothes ready? Do you need me to wash this? She was in it. She knew that my passion was there, so her passion grew as well. And the same thing with my dad. He was a wrestler and an athlete and stuff like that back in the day, so I followed in his footsteps to a certain degree. But it was who we were. We were a wrestling family, and I find myself nowadays, we are a softball family. And my youngest doesn't play. She messes around here and there with it, but she's not as passionate about it as my older two are. And probably because she grew up on a softball field. That's what our life has been, is just softball, softball, softball. But my older two, man, it's everything. You can look in my garage and there's softballs and bats and tees and bow nets and this and that. You'll find something in there. You look in the house, there's softballs, bats, and just gear. There's pictures. There's you name it. We're just a softball family, and I know there are people out there that are even more involved in it than I am, or my family is. And then there's some that's more of a casual softball family, but nonetheless, their passion is still there. It may not just be on the forefront quite as much as other families or whatnot, but just the culture that is softball, and I love it. I absolutely love it. I love the fact that the sport has grown to this where it's almost like an addiction to a lot of us, and it's a healthy addiction for the most part. I have to think. Now it can get crazy. And you got to take a step back. You got to protect your kids a little bit, and give them something else to do, and not let them get burnt out. But that's kind of it's a part of the culture. You got to weigh that. How much is too much? How much is not enough? But getting back to the point of culture, when you see a softball player, you can just in street clothes, you can almost tell. It was kind of like back when I was younger. You could tell like who the wrestlers were. You could tell who the baseball guys were. You could tell who the basketball guys were. And nowadays, I look around and I can tell, oh, this girl plays softball, or she did play softball, or that's a college athlete, or that's a college ball player, or you can just she just has this presence about her. And then and that's culture too, you look at some of these big time organizations that are in the softball world, and whether you like the big organizations or not, that's neither here nor there. But they have a culture about them too. So if you think about it, almost like like a biodome, if you will, there's like this big circle, and it's softball. Well, within that circle, you have sort of these mini circles, whether it's travel ball, rec ball, high school ball, professional ball, collegiate ball. You have these like circles, and there's like a certain culture within a culture.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
So then once you get into like one of those circles, like let's take the culture of rec ball. and look and sort of dissect that circle. You look in there, you got some kids that are starting out. You got some parents that maybe played some ball back when they were younger. And it's, those weekday practices at night from like 6 to 8, and girls are learning the game, and it's a little rough around the edges because you have such a wide gap in skill, or you have such a wide gap in abilities. You got coaches that are volunteering their time after they've put in a 12-hour shift, and they're out there because their kids love it. And they got into coaching because of their daughters, and they're trying to learn. They're learning at the wheel. And you got the softball moms and the softball dads that are out there. You got moms that used to play the game back in the day, and they used to do it this way, and dads played baseball, so they do it this way. So you have all these different, all these different softball personalities that kind of meld into one, and that's what makes softball. That's what makes our culture. We're in this thing together, and we have all these different opinions, and we have different personalities, different ways about us. But at the end of the day, man, it's like our sport against everybody else's sport. It's like us against the world. But then come game day, it's team yellow versus team blue. Our team is better. We practice harder. We got a better pitcher. We got home run hitters, this and that. And then, with rec ball, you got rec all-stars. So you got this town against that town. And eventually you get to the point where it's like state versus state. And with that, too, you can even look at it at the high school level, where you get into your regions or your divisions or your conferences or classifications, depending on what state you're in. Whatever you guys call it. So it's like this town against that town. And it's just like football. Football is a huge sport when it comes to high school athletics. And I think softball is getting right there. I mean, you can go into a gym and watch basketball and volleyball and go watch baseball or track or whatever. It's like town versus town. And softball is right in that mix. Softball there's nothing like it in the community. Playing under the lights, first pitch at 6:30 or something like that on a Tuesday night, and it's chilly because it's early springtime, and this team just traveled like an hour and 15 minutes to get there, and and they got through their warm ups, and the crowd is trickling in, and you can smell the boiled peanuts and the hot dog, and you got sunflower seeds flying, you got the little kids out there playing cup ball. You got brothers and sisters rooting each other on. You got mamas and daddies and grandmas and grandpas snapping pictures, and everybody's giving little tips and pointers. We're doing that coaching from the stands crap that we all do, and we just want our kid to succeed. And we see a great play by a teammate or an opponent, everybody kind of cheers it on. You'll hear a daddy cheer on the other team, "Hey, great play, kiddo," or something like that. You got seniors that are playing their last year. You got, in some cases, 7th and 8th graders that are playing high school ball that are absolutely scared to death, terrified because they're on the high school level, and they remember when they were 10 years old watching some of their idols play the game, and now they could be out there with them. You got just this whole sense of community when it comes to the playoffs. We can't lose. We got these pep rallies and stuff going on, and all that stuff kind of just leads back to the culture of the game, man. And if you switch circles and go over to let's talk about like maybe the collegiate level. So now you got this big old fan base because I like Alabama football, so I like Alabama softball. Or I'm a Florida alum. I ran track at Florida, so I'm anything to do with Florida. I'm a big time Florida guy. I'm a softball fan, for Florida. Or, it's that culture. It's the Florida culture. It's the Gator culture. It's the Tennessee Volunteer culture. And now it's on TV, and you see the fans are tailgating. They're doing white outs or orange outs or black outs or purple outs or whatever it is. Everybody wears the same colored shirt. We're wearing our favorite player's shirt or jersey. We got NIL deals now where, they can sell their own merchandise and we can buy it and we can support them. So, you're looking at it from a cultural standpoint. The game is so popular. We're out there, we're doing our thing, we're rooting our teams on. You can, look at it, and a lot of us are in the travel ball realm now. That's why I got into doing what I'm doing. And you look at it at the travel ball level, there's so many little pockets that encompass the sport of travel softball. You got the high end stuff where you got teams that are built from girls from all over the country. You got girls on the same team that go to high school in Florida, girls in North Carolina, girls from Texas, girls from Oklahoma. They're all on the same team. They play 3 or 4 tournaments a year, but they play it at the highest level, the top tournaments, whether it's in California, Texas, Tennessee, Colorado, wherever. And that's their world. That's where they live in. They got that disposable income where the parents can just follow them around and get them to and from these tournaments and stuff like that. And then on the complete opposite end of that spectrum, you've got this traveling rec phenomenon that goes on now. So it's a lot like rec ball, where it's local. We practice a few times a week, and it's just local girls across town or maybe the next town over, something like that. And we kind of form these teams together, and we play a softball tournament like 3 out of 4 weeks, something like that, something silly like that, just a ton of tournaments. So you got all these pop-up tournament sanctions, and you guys know the local ones that are discounting every little thing. Everybody gets a ring. There's a ton of brackets. Just everybody gets to compete and play. You're playing for something. You're rewarding these kids. It's almost like a participation trophy. Doesn't matter how good you are. You can lose your first 2 pool games, end up in the copper bracket where there's only 2 teams, and you can lose that game, but you still end up runner-up in your bracket. So you're taking your pictures and you're posting them on Facebook. We finished second in our bracket this weekend. But you got blown out 15-0, 12-0, and 22-0. But you get to carry that medal home, and it makes that kid, their heart feel warm. Mama and daddy and grandma are taking their pictures and that kind of stuff. That's our culture, man. That's the culture we live in. Some people may not realize that's the culture of softball. There's a majority that they play for the trophies, and then you have the other ones that are playing to get to that next level. So you got that other end of the spectrum, and everything in between, where there's this middle ground where you got teams that are trying to do the best they can with the money that they can raise through fundraising, and the parents, footing the bill for team dues, paying for tournaments, paying for uniforms, whether you're in a big organization with 500 teams or a small one-off team it's just you. It's the Lady Bells from Dallas, Texas. And that's it. There's no other teams. It's just one 12U team. We are what the Lady Bells are. And that's that too. That's a part of the fabric that is softball. And if it wasn't like that, we wouldn't have anything to post about on social media, because we don't post about grades as much as we should. We don't post about orchestra concerts or Glee events. Y'all ever hear anything about Glee, like the Glee Club? Y'all ever hear that? No. But I tell you what, every Saturday evening or every Sunday evening when the tournaments are over, man, there's pictures of this, pictures of that. She went 3 for 4 this weekend. She's a bracket pitcher, or we're looking for a bracket pitcher, or I need 4 or 5 girls to round out our core group of players of this. I mean, look at what this sport has become, and we can knock it. We can talk our crap. We can crap on other people for doing it the way that they're doing it, because, we think it's wrong because they're not doing it the way we're doing it, or we don't like them because they're not on our team, or they left because they weren't getting the play in time, or, it's just all of that kind of rolls into one culture that is the game. And I swear to you, I don't know if I'd have it any other way. I do have my gripes and my complaints, and I can get on my daggone soapbox, and I can tell you a whole bunch of things that I think is wrong with the sport of softball or the culture of softball. But man, I wouldn't change it, because it's human nature, and I love humans I love human beings, all walks of life. Doesn't matter skin color, doesn't matter gender, doesn't matter background, upbringing, where you're from, the circles you run in. I just love human beings. And I think the sport of softball and the culture that is in softball, it's sort of like a microcosm of our society. And, maybe microcosm isn't the right word for it, but you guys get my drift. It's like, it's a world within a world. And you can compare, there's different analogies and stuff that can relate. Take the business world and you can put it in the softball world, or you can take the softball world and put that into the classroom. There's so many different things that you can look at that makes youth sports, not just softball, but makes youth sports such a huge impact, or have such a huge impact on our lives. And not even the players, aunts and uncles that follow our kids and their journeys and their dreams. You may not even have a kid involved in it, but here you are listening to a softball podcast. Listen to some guy from Conway, South Carolina, talk about the culture and talk about passion and talk about the mental side of game. You talking about recruiting, talking about professional softball, that kind of stuff. That's where the culture is today. You know how many softball podcasts are out there? There's a bunch of us out there, and I listen to them. I love them. And before I get out of here, I do want to mention one more thing about that. Just how many people are doing what we do.
Hey guys, it is Ryan. I'm not sure if you know this about me, but I'm a bit of a fun fanatic when I can. I like to work, but I like fun too. It's a thing. And now the truth is out there. I can tell you about my favorite place to have fun. Chumba Casino. They have hundreds of social casino style games to choose from, with new games released each week. You can play for free anytime, anywhere. And each day brings a new chance to collect daily bonuses. So join me in the fun. Sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
But going back to how big the community is, if we had a crappy culture, like if our culture was like drug dealers or something, and people just didn't want to be associated with it, it wouldn't be as popular as it is today. But having that strong foundation, having that this culture of just goodness and wholesomeness that tends to outweigh the negative. It outweighs the negative enough for the sport to continue to be popular, and I do want to hit on one more point when it talks to sort of community, talks to culture, and it talks to sort of social media. Man, there are a ton of people that do what I do out there. I do a lot of things I do the exact same thing a lot of people do. And we do it differently. We do a lot of things the same. But whether it's pitching instructors, catching instructors, strength and agility, hitting, you name it, there are instructors for everything out there. And one thing that irks me about what we do, and this is human nature, this isn't a softball thing. This is a societal thing. This is the world we live in today. Man, we are so quick to just shit on somebody. We don't even know them. We don't talk to them. We can lie and say we know something. Whatever. But man, I see it on social media all the time, or I hear it. People talking. I don't like so and so because of this or that, or I said hey to so and so, and I don't like them. Well, what do you mean you don't like them? Yeah, you just said hey to that person. You don't know anything else about him. You've never had a conversation with him, or whatever. There's so many hitting instructors that I follow because I try to pick up tips, and I try to study it, and I try to understand why this works or why this doesn't work, or why their opinion is the way that's their opinion. I got a really good buddy, Hitting It Done Right, Josh Cathcart. Really solid dude. The dude is in it for the right reasons. Got a passion for it. Absolutely love Josh to death. Such a great guy. You see me sharing his stuff all the time. I'm not mad at Josh's success. I'm not trying to hang on his coattails and trying to get Black Diamond to get pulled through by Josh. I sincerely and genuinely care about the guy because how much he cares about his youth athletes, whether it's baseball or softball. Mandy Baldiff, good friend of mine, a scout. She puts out so much good word on a daily basis. And to some, she could be controversial because she's blunt. She's honest. She doesn't hide behind anything. She comes from experience. She speaks from experience. She comes from a long a line of experience and putting in the grind, learning. So there's some people that just disagree just to disagree. And then you got like coaches, well, I don't like the Bat Busters organization or the Firecrackers or Athletics or Stars or Finesse or Mojo or LLG or good Lord, there's so many organizations out there that we'll talk crap about, or we'll say, oh, they suck or this or that. And the first thing that comes out of anybody's mouth that don't understand what the big organizations are doing is all you're doing is paying all this money to wear that name, and your money is going to the top team that's there, the older team there. Like we fundraise, this little 10U team that's in Mocksville, North Carolina, is fundraising for a team out of Gainesville, Florida. Man, I don't know of any daggone organization that will do that. But if you talk about like the Lady Dukes, it'll be something like, well, they just it costs you X amount of dollars, and all you get out of it is to wear the Lady Dukes name. Or, you play for the Corona Angels, but all you're doing is paying for that name. You're thinking you're getting something out of it. Man, unless you're in that organization and you're in the weeds and you're in the daily grind with that org, with your specific team and stuff like that, don't speak on their day-to-day operations. You have no idea. I hear it all the time. And one of the sports groups, they're talking about, you just with the Firecrackers because of that name. You don't need Tony Rico to do this and do that. No, I don't need Tony Rico to do what I do. But I love having Tony Rico there when I'm doing what I'm doing, because he gives me something as a sounding board. If nothing else, I can bounce ideas off of him. I can learn from him. I can gain experience, and I can gain knowledge from his knowledge and his experience. Y'all don't know nothing about the meetings we are in every week, the coaches. Y'all don't understand what goes on, say, with, I don't know, give me an organization. Give me the Bombers out of Texas. Y'all don't know what Scott Smith is doing on a daily basis down there trying to go the game. Y'all don't understand what Jamie Lowprice is doing with the Alliance. You can just talk about it. Well, I'm not going to the Alliance. It costs too much money. They're just in it for the money. Well, I'm not playing in the PGF because they're just in it for the money. Man, sit down. Listen to them, talk to them, shoot them an email. Can you give me some more information about what makes PGF? That's the one thing about our culture, softball culture, and it's a societal thing. It's not just softball. It's in football. It's in lacrosse. It's in badminton. By God, it's probably in bowling and darts too. I don't know. I'm pretty sure. We always want to shit on somebody because it's not. We're not in it. We're not doing it. So they got to be wrong. If we're not doing it and we're right, we can't be wrong, then they're wrong. If they're wearing baby blue and black, they're wrong because I'm wearing red and black. And even inside an organization where, organization is popular in one area and they show up and there'll be 16 teams in one division and 7 of them are all from one organization. They love each other in the organization, but you put those 2 teams on the ball field, they're going to tell you why our team is better than that team. They shouldn't even be in our organization. I don't even know why they have a team. I don't know why they split off. I don't know why this girl's there and not here. Oh, that's why they're over there. They can't play with us. That's nature of the beast. That's what we do. We're, as a world, as a society, as human beings, we love to shit on other people for no other reason. Because they're not like us, or we have a different opinion. And the difference in opinion comes from lack of information. That's what it is. Man, I have learned so much stuff. When I stopped being a coach here for a couple of years and I got out of it, I became a better coach. Because I stopped coming off I stopped trying to be the one with the information, and I became the one that wanted the information. So if you get nothing out of this episode of the Foul Pole to Foul Pole Daily Show, stop being the one with all the information and be the one that is hunting the information. Be a sponge. Don't be the one that knows it all. Be the one that's trying to learn it all. Continue to grow this culture in the right way. Let's not be a culture of drug dealers. Let's be a culture of people that are trying to help nurture the future generations and get our society back to caring about one another. That's it for today. I'm going to get off my soapbox now, but man, I am passionate about this sport. I'm passionate about the people that love this sport. I am passionate about getting information to you guys. Whether you're reading my blog post, you're watching the videos on YouTube, you're checking this out on Spotify or iTunes or Amazon, wherever you guys are listening to this stuff, man, please continue listening. I know not everything I say is correct. I know not everything I say resonates with you, and I know not everything I say has an impact on you. But I am sure you know somebody. Our culture is big, man. Our community is big. Our reach is very big. I know there is somebody that you could share this to. If you're listening to this one right now, if you've hung in there this long and you've stuck it out for nearly 30 minutes and just listened to this longer edition of the Foul Pole to Foul Pole Daily, if you can do one thing, either share this on your social media account or share this with somebody, share it with your kids, share it with just put it out there somewhere. Because I can guarantee you at least one person will be able to pick out maybe 15 seconds of this podcast and it can impact them in a positive way. If nothing else, we just got someone to understand or to change their thinking of, you know what, maybe I'm not always right. Maybe I can learn something. If we can get more people willing to learn about others, this world's going to be a better place. But right now, man, we are stuck. And softball could be a microcosm of our society. I'm a firm believer in that. But we can change the world just in our own small community, this softball community. You know, when people talk about softball players and softball families and softball teams and softball organizations, I want to talk about how good of a sport it is. I was in the Marine Corps years ago, and for the most part, anything that was ever said about the Marine Corps was good unless we did something that gave us a black eye. Something bad happened and it involved a Marine, so everybody hated all Marines there for a little bit. But anytime something popped off and y'all need somebody to go kick a daggone door in and go get a bad guy, y'all call the Marines. And once we got them, we're the greatest thing since sliced bread. It happens. It's the same thing in the softball community. When one of our, nationally known or nationally recognized softball players does something, everybody loves softball. But you get some controversial statement or some university's culture, got this going on, got that going on. It gives the entire community a black eye. It's like that. So anyway, again, I'm going to jump off the soapbox here. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And please do me a favor. Share this with someone. Share it with a friend. And when you do, you tell them you love them.